Hey guys, this is Phil, and in today's video, we'll be taking a detailed look at my own personal AEG. I often get asked about my rifle, both in terms of hardware and what's under the hood, so I thought I'd give you a full overview. My rifle is optimized for my own personal playstyle after years of trying different models and parts. We'll be looking at the rifle from end to end, and I'll be explaining why I have it set up in this particular way. So let's get to it. First off, it's worth noting that as I'm fairly short, I'm most effective while using a short rifle. That said, I still want good range and accuracy. So when I went and started building this rifle, I selected parts that would enable me to do this. That being said, I'm always open to trying new parts to see if they're more effective than what I'm currently using. My AEG started its life as a King Arms Mk18 Mod 1. King Arms makes very rugged, reliable bodies, and I wanted an AEG that would be able to sustain the abuse that I was going to put it through. So let's look at the externals, starting with the front. I kept the original King Arms rail, but I did swap out the stock backup sights with Magpul backup irons. Additionally, I have rubberized rail covers that help with grip comfort, and a minimal hand stop setup that ensures consistent hand positioning every time I grip my rifle. You'll also notice that I don't run any lights or lasers on my front rail, as these are not essential pieces of kit on the fields in which I play. Making our way down the gun, I've kept the original King Arms upper and lower receiver. I also use a replica Trijicon SRS red dot sight. I like this sight for a few reasons. Firstly, the sight picture is very big, which makes it easy to aim with. Additionally, it's fully adjustable, including the dot brightness, and it runs off a single AA battery. It's also solar powered, as you can see on top. Finally, I use a kill flash on the front, which also serves as a lens protector, and as you can see, it's already worked a few times. Moving towards the back of the gun, you'll notice that I've replaced the original pistol grip with a Magpul MOE, which I find much more comfortable. I've also added a quick detach sling plate for my single point sling. I've also replaced the original crane stock with a tighter aftermarket make, because I found the original was a little bit too wobbly. As my gun is rear wired, my battery lives inside my buffer tube. I use an 11.1 LiPo battery with a Dean's connector. As you can see, my rifle is quite the compact package, and I run it as minimalist as possible. This minimizes the risk that the rifle will get caught up in pieces of equipment, tree branches, and so on. So now let's take a look under the hood. Again, starting with the front of the rifle, I'm using a 275mm Prometheus barrel that has been R-hopped. Prometheus is generally regarded as one of the top-of-the-line barrels, and I would tend to agree. I've gotten excellent range and consistency from the Prometheus, as well as a very flat trajectory from the R-hop. The hop-up rubber is a modified hop-up rubber, and the hop-up unit is a Lonex unit. Looking at the gearbox, we have an all-metal King Arms gearbox shell with a mixture of SHS and modified parts inside. I'll include a parts list in the video description, but these are parts that have been recommended by both the team's gun doctors, not only because they deliver good performance, but also because they're not overly expensive. That being said, it can be very difficult or impossible to find the perfect part. This is because certain parts will work fine in some rifles and not even fit in other gearbox shells. I've been served very well with the parts that are in my rifle, but your mileage may vary if you use the exact same parts. I do want to call attention to one part in particular, the BTC Spectre Mosfet Mk. This is an electronic trigger that actually replaces the traditional trigger contacts in almost every airsoft gun, and it's truly an excellent part. By removing the traditional trigger contacts, you're taking parts out of your gun that have a tendency to wear down or break over time. In addition, it also allows for excellent trigger response, and it's fully programmable via Bluetooth, which means you can set up your fire selector in whatever combination you want. In my case, I've set it up for safe, semi, and semi-full, which gives me full auto only when I hold down the trigger for a longer period of time. I've also programmed the MOSFET to reduce my rate of fire, meaning that I don't waste BBs if I do go full auto. Finally, my motor is an SHS high torque motor. This is a relatively inexpensive motor which, in combination with my 13:1 gears and the Spectre Mosfet, provides excellent trigger response, which is very important to me. So that's an overall view of my Mk18 AEG. This is my workhorse gun, and I've put well over 15,000 BBs through it. But just like any other piece of equipment, it's very important to maintain it. Take a look at your own AEG, look for signs of wear and tear, and replace parts once they get worn. It's also a good idea to be on the lookout for newer parts that might perform better than the ones you're currently using. I hope you found this video helpful. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching.